All right, bam, we're live on one. We're getting set up on the other. Just be a second. We're getting there. All right. Making this work. Yeah. Here. Give me just a second. Five here. All right, we are on this new 30-day content challenge, and day 4. And we're going to talk about remodelers get wrong when it comes to scaling. All right, so if you're new, welcome. In the comments, just let us know where you're from. So here we go. What every remodeler gets wrong about scaling, right? Because you don't scale just by working harder. You have to have a system and a process, right? No amazing business grew to their second and third location without first figuring out how to do it well at the first location, right? And then you're like, oh, now I just rinse and repeat. Remodelers think, hey, I'm on the job site. I need to get another guy to help me. He'll figure it out. He'll know what he's doing. I'll just hire an experienced guy. And then that's when things start to go wrong because you recognize it's much more complicated than that. But nobody tells you what to do, how to fix it. All right. So get wrong about scaling. All right. So you don't scale by working harder. You scale by installing systems. If you plan to grow your business, right? What are you going to do? You want to work more hours? You're going to take more jobs? You're going to hire more people? You're going to buy more tools? And then are you just going to hope that it all sorts itself out? You're not scaling. That's just multiplying chaos. So in this series, we're going to look at what guys are getting wrong. So if you've said to me or somebody else, like, hey, man, I really want to get past 1 million. I want to hit 2 or 3 million. All right, perfect. Let's look at your process. Let's look at your system. I can tell you straight, if you don't have a process and you don't have systems, from everything, how are you handling leads? How are you hiring people? How are you managing the job sites? Then the more people that you hire, the faster that you're going to break. And you can look at my comments and you can see it on the videos. How many guys out there are struggling right now, right? Struggling to keep it going, struggling to have more than 1, 2 to 4 guys on their team. And when you see the comments, you'll see a lot of broke, bitter, angry, so-called veterans that are like, well, you can't do it. It's too hard. Nobody wants to work these days. You You don't know how to hire the person. All right, so let's break it down. I'm going to show you why most remodelers scale the completely wrong way, why you don't have to have it be that way for you, what scaling really means in the remodeling business, and how to start installing simple systems so that your business feels lighter as it grows, not heavier. So at the end of this video, I want you guys saying, damn, I get it. It's not about working harder. It's about building a blueprint. So most of us have never seen a healthy remodeling company. Hey, Wayne's World, welcome. If you got any questions about remodeling, just pop it in the chat. The reality is most guys don't even see a good example of a healthy remodeling company when they were growing up, when they were working in the industry, working somewhere else. What they saw was a stressed out owner who did everything. And that's why you decide to start your own company. Because most likely the guy that you were working for was terrible at it, right? So these companies, they look successful from the outside, but when you don't ever see behind the curtain, you know, in your head, you're like, man, scaling looks easy. More jobs on the board. I'll charge less. I'll land more projects. I'll have more trucks. They'll have my logos. I'm going to have all the employees. I'm going to have all this money coming in. And then you go launch your business, and it's the opposite. You can't get anything happening. Maybe you get a couple jobs. Maybe you're booked for a couple months. But then the minute you start hiring people, then how are you going to do it? Right? So think about this. A lot of guys are saying, man, if I can just get to the next level, then I'll relax. Here's what usually happens instead. You add more jobs, you add more people, you add more overhead, and you add more headaches. Hey, Rodney, welcome. Let us know what part of the country you're from. So you might be doing bigger numbers, but you're probably going to be more exhausted. You're going to fall farther behind, and you're going to when you were just the one-man show. So that's not scaling, that's surviving at a higher level. C. Knowles, welcome. It's been a little while. And if that's the path, of course, well, then growth scares you. Your brain goes, why would I want more of this? So what scaling really means, I can give you a different picture of scaling. Scaling isn't just doing more work personally, saying yes to every job. Hondo Mix, welcome. Let me know where you're from. Hiring bodies and hoping it works out, that's not how you're going to scale. Scaling is literally being able to handle more volume on bigger jobs without stress and chaos going through the roof because you have a process that you've put in place. So hear that again. Scaling is when your capacity increases, but the pain that you're experiencing doesn't. The only way this happens is with a system or systems. So yeah, having some software makes a difference, but it's not the only thing. Having a CRM, that helps, but it's not the only thing. And having another app, while it may help, again, it's not the only thing. We got to help you get some repeatable, simple processes, the way you do things, right? How do you handle a new lead? How do you price and present work? How do you start a job? How do you handle changes? How do you handle delays, payments? Hey, Butch, welcome. How do you wrap up a job and ask for reviews and referrals? So when you have all that, you can finally plug the people in, you can plug tools and processes, and now you can start scaling and growing. And this is how you can get the same result over and over again. If you're new, welcome. Let me know what part of the country you're from, Buck. And just talking about scaling. If you've already scaled, let me know how you're doing it. If you've struggled, that's cool. Let me know what went wrong. At the end of the day, if you can do one project at a time, you make this much profit. When you can do 2 to 3 projects, you make this much profit plus this much plus this much. So at the end of the week, you could earn like 3, 4, 5 times the profit just because you figured out how to get more crews work. So that's what leads to more profit, because more projects can be going on at the same time and not wrecking your sanity. You don't scale by being the hero. You scale by building the system that wins, even when you're not on every job. So obviously, guys that have crested 1 million have figured this out to a degree. Generally, they're flying by the seat of their pants still and have been lucky. And when you start tweaking things, that's how you can grow rather quickly into the multi-millions. For me, once I had the first really good lead carpenter, I was able to add multiple other lead carpenters, but I had to find the first good guy, right? And then you know exactly what to look for going forward. But it took, I don't know, 7, 8 employees to get to finding that one good guy. So, all right. So a lot of guys say, Mike, I just need more leads. And I'd say, no, you don't. Because if your current setup is free estimates for everyone and no real way to weed out the leads, and you have no structure for your sales or conversions or conversations, and if you did suddenly double your leads, you're not scaling. You're just going to be doubling the time that you waste, right? You're going to get twice as many. That's more expensive than we thought. You're going to get twice as many. Can you lower that by 10 grand? Can you match this guy? Right? That's all that happens when you get more. You scale what you already have. More leads are the answer when you have a sales process and a back end system that can handle it. Right? So that's one of the reasons why earlier in the series we were talking about weed the lead and the front end sales process, because that getting that down pat is part of scaling and growing. All right. Some guys will say, Mike, I just need one more good crew. And I get it. You love another crew. You do need good people. But if right now, if every decision has to go through you, right? If every guy on the job is saying, how do we do this? What's next, Mike? And what if everyone has to text you for answers and there's no clear written scope and the guys don't have game plan, a battle plan to go with? Well, then there's no real chance of you scaling either, because you're going to be the bottleneck. So adding another crew just adds another group of people who are confused and they have to wait on you all day long. You don't fix a broken process by adding more people to it. You fix the process first, and then people can actually win inside of your process. So that was a hard lesson for me to figure out, that because I kept hiring a bunch of guys that they just needed to be a babysat full time. And that's not what I ever wanted to be as a business owner. So, and if you think that software is the only answer, yeah, it'll make a system better, but it also makes a bad system fail faster. So be cautious. All right. Hey there, Steel G. Welcome. Let me know part of the country you're from. If you have any questions about scaling. So when I talk about scaling with a system, I'm not just talking about like jumping into some complicated software program, right? Because then most of you guys are too busy to even learn how to use the software. But I'm talking about coming up with a proper way to show someone else that you know how to get things done so that you can hand the guide over to them, right? So that's how we do it. That's the base, and the software and AI, they start to become your digital foreman, right? Not your babysitter. So I can break this down a little simpler for you. And when I say systems, I'm not talking about like a thick manual. I'm just saying, think about checklists, workflows. How does something naturally progress? When a lead comes in, what's the first thing that gets done in the company? Hey there, Jay Allen. Welcome. Good to see you. How are things? Zuni, welcome. Yeah, it's been a couple days. I wasn't one. All right, fantastic. Yeah, I took the weekend off, so he didn't. I wasn't doing anything over the weekend, at least for live. Mm. OC death. Yeah, man. Yeah, TikTok was throttling my account because I guess I made too many videos where I used words that it didn't like. I had like 6 videos in a row and they were restricting everything. I weren't even showing videos to people. So I was like, I'll just take a break for about 3, 4 days, let the algorithm reset, and come back at it. So, how about yourself? Is this lining up to be a good week for you? For sure. Nice. All right. Well, I have a couple more minutes here. I'm going to go through this scaling talk, and then let's talk about what you got lined up if you want, or any questions that you have or anybody else has. That sound cool? So in the corporate world, there's a thing called key man risk, and when you are the main person that's responsible for a business, an insurance company looks at you as a high risk company because if something were to ever happen to you, most likely the business fails. All right, so think about this for a minute. What we want to do as a business owner is eliminate that key man risk. So for a lot of us, if we're small business, we have all the information up here. We know how to do everything because we are the one that does it. And we can direct people when we're in front of them or on the phone with them or in sight with them. But otherwise, nobody really knows everything that we know because it's all up here. All right. The best thing that you can do for your business is eliminate that. Get it out of your head and get it on paper so that it can be put into a system on the computer so that anyone else in the company can go, well, how would the boss figure this out? What would the boss do next? And you would have your processes. So this is what I do when I take the first phone call. These are the questions that I'm asking. This is what I do when I first show up at the homeowner's house. This is how I prep the van, approach the house. Before I start a job, these are the conversations that I make sure that I have with the homeowner or with my helper, with the office. When a change order comes up, this is how I handle it every time, right? Every Friday, I do these things to make sure I've closed out the current week and I'm preparing for the upcoming week. This is how I review and see what my progress, and this is how I fix issues that I before they explode, right? I'm not saying you have to have a super thick manual, but you should have a couple pages that's like a guide for this, a guide for that. They don't have to have fancy graphics. It just needs what they call a trigger. This is what starts the process. Phone call comes in. I ask these questions. I show up, I drive up to the homeowner's house. I start this process, right? So you have your trigger. That's what starts the process. Then you follow it with a few steps. You show the person this is what happens in this order. And then at the end, you say, and when it is done right, this is what the win looks like. This is how we know that we've done the job properly. That is a system. And again, you already have it up here in your head. Your challenge to grow a business is to get it out of here and onto the paper or the computer. That way, a team can see it. And now someone else can run it and support it. So I think that makes sense, hopefully. So, what I would say if you want a challenge for the next 30 days, pick one thing in your business that is frustrating. What's a pain point? What are you noticing? Man, this is challenging. and start figuring out a process to solve that problem. How do you go about, like when the homeowner calls and this comes up, man, that's a sticky situation. Well, this is what I do when that process happens, right? And just you can start with just a regular old notebook, just jot it down, and we'll get it onto a computer later. All right. And list the steps as they come to you, stream of conscious. Don't worry about how pretty it is. It doesn't have to be all that. As long as you understand what you're putting down, at least you get a blueprint. It's your first draft, version 1. And over time, you'll improve it, right? And then next month, you'll pick the next task. And in 6 months, you'll actually have like 6 processes that you've built for your company. And then you can slowly start sharing that process with somebody else on the team so that they start, and then they can ask you questions. Well, I noticed you didn't share this, you didn't discuss that. And then you can fill in the gaps, and then you would have a final process. So start small, grow big. It's like anything else. Nobody here knew how to walk when they were a baby. You just had to keep falling, pushing yourself up. Your parents probably even laughed. Oh, look, he thinks he can walk. Isn't that cute? But over time, you built up the muscles to walk. Same thing with your business. You crawl at first, and then slowly you build up to where you walk. Then you're running, then you're jumping. All right. Jay Allen, how does that sound to you? Tyler, Jay, what are your thoughts? Robin, welcome. Robin, if you have any questions about remodeling, please ask away. Anything you want to discuss? We're happy to have it. There you go. Yeah. Jayon, somebody where you're at, if you started doing one of these a month, you'd have your own employee handbook ready in no time. You know what I mean? And you and Bonnie working together, talking as you're driving, she could start typing it up on the computer. You'd have a process for this is how we answer the phone. And what ends up happening is if one of you ever is sick, one of you ever just isn't able to work that day, one of you wants to take the day off, somebody else in the company can say, well, how does Bonnie do it? How does Jay Allen do it? And it starts giving you some flexibility so that you don't have to always carry the business on your back day in, day out. So start small, starts with just one task, one thing. All right. Oring good. Any questions from you about remodeling, scaling? Welcome. I think I have a delay on the screen here, Jayon. I don't know what's happening. Jayon, any challenges coming up? Any fun jobs? I'm sure any good Google reviews? Anything you can share that's encouraging, or any questions you have? Okay. You got Tell me about the first 4-star. What'd you get? What'd they say? What job was it? What caused it? That's awesome. Another Google This is Google review we're talking about. Was this through your software, somebody that got messaged and then just went ahead and put the review in, or is it someone that you asked specifically to do a review? Both. All right, very cool. Well, that's awesome. Now you have a lot of reviews. When you say this is your first 4-star, what's happened before? Have some of them just been a little bit lower, or what made this one so significant? You know, you can't please everybody. I think it's good that you got a 4-star. It would make me think that you're more believable as a real business. If I only see all 5 stars, I'm like, hey, he must be paying those people. So I think exactly. I think it's great that you got a 4-star. Now, is part of your process, do you reach back out to the person? Have you thought about calling them and asking them why they only gave you 4 stars? Maybe you've already even done that. I don't know. All right. So have you let me ask you this, Jayon. Have you guys ever considered every customer, maybe Bonnie calls them back like a week later and does a review of service and says, "Hey guys, thanks so much for having us out. Da, 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 da. We saw the review. That was awesome. Hey, we're looking for ways to grow, and we're always looking for ways to improve the business. Could you share some? Would you mind if I asked you a few questions? Like, what did you like most about what our company did? How did you find the process of booking us and finding us online? Did you find our website helpful? Was this helpful? What was the experience like? Would you like us to do anything differently? Would you have wished we did something that we didn't do? You know, look at that. Look who has. It's good to see you there, goat. I've been wondering where you've been. So yeah, Jayon, I would say it doesn't have to be you. I think it could be Bonnie would be a good. If it were me, I would. Now Bonnie might say she doesn't think it should be her, but I could totally. I think you guys could get some really good feedback and may be surprised at some of the suggestions that homeowners could give you. That being said, uh, not everyone understands what it's like to run a business, and you might get some weird suggestions, which is fine. But over the years, I've found that you learn a lot about your customers, and there might be something that you guys aren't even aware of that a customer might have really good insight to say, this could really help. Anyway, yeah, surveys. Um, Look, I got it. You got a lot on your plate, and Jay, you're crushing it. I'm just suggesting that it might be something that, if nothing's happening on the car ride back from a job site, maybe Bonnie calls like a customer you worked with a month ago and just sees if she can get some feedback from them. I don't know. And you could add that into your CRM so that over the course of a year, you see if you can contact every customer And I bet you'd get like 15% might give you an honest something. Half of them you might never even get in touch with. I don't know. Anyway, Goat, tell us, what have you been up to? We haven't seen you for a little while, which is cool. I'm sure you've been busy. All right. Tell what's one of the best jobs you've had recently? Okay. How did you find this guy? Okay, you just got a nice PVC fence. Awesome. All right, mutual friend. Does this person have their own vehicle, or do they drive, or is it still requiring you to pick them up? So they can drive themselves. Do they have they have basic tools? All right. All right. Perfect. And they have basic skills, or are you training them? He knows what he's doing. That's awesome. Amen. All right. All right. Now, so what's your plan for doubling the work? How do you plan to so if the two of you divide and conquer, or if you're both on a job, you'll you are going to get work done faster. So what's your plan going forward? All right. So right before, so this was a good video for you to watch. I think you missed part of it. I was talking about processes and putting a system in place. So for instance, um, the way that you go about showing up to the homeowner's house and all the things that you make sure you do, like how you approach the house, talk to the homeowner, know that you're there. This is how I'm going to do the job. The way you set up the workstation, the way you park the vehicle, how you communicate, how you get the job done. It's, in my opinion, a good idea to write that kind of stuff down as a guide, a framework, and then you, all right, so this is good. He's followed you. If possible, have him write down the things that he learned. That's good. And you and him could take a few minutes and come up with like a little process on paper so that you're both clear. And then you could eventually put that into your computer so that when you go and hire the third guy, you can hand him the process of this is what we do. And the same thing, he'll follow you for a week, work with you, but and then perfect. And then you can start talking to him how you handle change orders. Very good. It sounds like you got it all covered. So awesome. So what do you think's going to be the yeah, I bet it's been great. I mean, in theory, you should be I don't think you'll double your profit each week because he'll probably do like 35, 40%. Yeah, it absolutely takes a while to find them. 100%. You have to hire the people that don't work because then you learn what you don't want. That's the only way you figure it out, right? You have to hire a few people. Yeah, you won't quite double right now, but I bet he could bring on 40% of what you're doing. And in in about a month or two, maybe he'll start outpacing you. Yeah, perfect. Very good. Well, good job, Goat. That's awesome. Congratulations. And what are the plans to keep them? What are the plans to keep them busy? How do we make sure? TikTok's filtering stuff again. Yeah, that's Goat. It's all going to work out when you're going to know when you're comfortable, when the timing's right. So perfect. Yeah, brother. You keep building the foundation. It's all going to work out. Yeah. You just keep doing the things you're doing to make sure you're winning. You know what I mean? Boss stuff. Exactly. And remember, you only it's these are what contrary to popular belief, it's the small little things that make the biggest difference in running a business, right? It's you sometimes you feel like you have to do all this big stuff, but a lot of times it's a lot of the simple things, like finding this new guy and taking the time to get him properly set up, right? So that he can present your business properly to your clients, right? And represent your brand really well. Yeah, and it's every day. It's just doing a little bit. That's all, you know. And over time, it all compounds. Yeah. So yeah, man, good stuff. Yeah, I know that feeling 100%. The For me, the first few times that I could leave the job and I could disappear for half the day because I would go out and look at another project. And then when you come back and the guy that you've hired is doing it better than you did, or is solving the problem perfectly and everybody's happy, it's such a relief because for so long you've been carrying it all on your shoulders. And to finally just give some of that weight and have somebody else in the journey with you. Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. From where you were just a few months ago. It's insane. And as long as the foundation is solid, it's like a sky. Think of a Jayon, this probably will relate for you. When if you watch them build like one of those casinos, or like anytime you see a building, a skyscraper, they have to dig down first, right? So you don't actually see the progress. It actually looks worse because they're digging a big hole. That's because they have to put in a proper foundation. And the only way you can ever build a building high is you have to dig an even deeper foundation. So where I'm going with this is for business owners, often the first several months, the first year or two, you can just feel like you're just digging a hole for yourself. But if you're doing it right, what you're really doing is building a foundation so that slowly you can start building that business on top of it, and things will start to turn. And then before you know it, you'll have the first story, the second story, the third story, right? And it's going to grow fast. But yeah, it takes a while to put the foundation in. Yeah. So that's what you've been doing, brother. You're building your business. Same with Jay Allen. He's been, this last year, he's been digging deep, building his foundation, doing all the work, you know? And people around you think you're crazy because they don't see anything for the first long time. Nobody sees they just see you working hard, making no money. But the money starts coming. Right. As long as you have faith in yourself. Yes, we do. People think we're crazy. 100%. I think it's awesome, Goat. That's awesome. And just think about this. This year you've done X of those. Next year you'll probably double it, because you'll have the whole year to start. And every customer that you meet with, when you finish up their job, you should hand them something about your lighting display and remind them, say, hey, I do permanent lighting or I do holiday lighting. So make sure you call me in like August to get on my calendar, things like that. You'll see, you're going to book up a lot of these jobs this year. Every customer you should be prepping to book you for next year. Yes, perfect. All right, you got your truck. Very good, brother. Yes, that's awesome. Yeah. All right. Yeah, pop. Very good. Your you should you know what you should do in the remodelers helping remodelers. Put a picture in there. Show people you about the truck wrap that you got. Awesome. Look at you. You got an internet guy going. You are rocking and rolling. That sucks. Sorry to hear that. How'd you get it back? Okay, your personal one. Got it. Hmm. Well, you're lucky. Some people lose it forever and they never get it back. So nice that you were very fortunate to get that back. That's good. Well, good. There you go. So you're getting a lot of the basics. Go. That's perfect. Very good. Well, you share the link when it's live. Yeah. Yeah. Once you start making a little bit of profit, things get a whole lot better for sure. Because you're not, for a long time you're treading water or drowning, and I get it. So it's nice to finally get your head up above the water where you feel like you can believe. Perfect. Thanks for saying hi, Goat. I think we're gonna Jay Allen, unless you have any questions or anything you want to throw out into the chat, I might wrap up the live myself. All right. Well, appreciate you guys hopping on, and yeah. So I'll be doing some. Most of the videos coming up, Jay Allen, are going to be talking about like systems and scaling for a little bit. I think that's what I'll focus on for probably maybe the month, and then we'll go from there. So anyhow, thank you for being here, and glad to hear you're doing well. And yep, if anything comes up, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Okay. And go take care. Thanks for being here as well. If you're still on. Yes, sir. Keep doing well. Go. Just keep doing this every day. Just do the small things. You're doing great.